By means of satellite instrumentation, astronomers in 1961 discovered what appeared to be an unusual nebula. We normally understand the nebula phenomenon as a vast cloud-like mass of gas or dust. However, this one appeared to have anomalous properties and was named the Golden Nebula. The public's attention was not drawn to this unusual revelation until much later, of course, presumably when it was realized that this nebula's location was coincident with the projected orbit of our solar system. Around the early 1980s, a radio announcement in the US was made and heard by the author that our solar system was in fact going to collide with an electromagnetic cloud in the not-too-distant future. However, this incredibly important statement of astronomical and historical significance was expressed in the usual, casual, and indifferent manner as though of little consequence, just as was, about that time, the announcement that the FDIC was penniless. Follow-up data was then suppressed and another government cover-up was contrived for the typical purpose of exploiting, where possible, natural events to camouflage contrived chaos. What is this electromagnetic cloud, you ask? This golden nebula, sometimes referred to as the Radiant Nebula by ETs. Its more universal designation is a photon belt, consisting of many bands, and any encounter with this belt is recognized by extraterrestrials as of great importance. Let us outline the mechanics of this anticipated encounter of our solar system with the photon belt. The whole universe is held together by means of vortices within vortices and centripetal energy. With their associated electromagnetic fields, like whirlpools on water within larger whirlpools, this is the machinery behind Einstein's space-time topology of general relativity. These spiraling energies give rise to natural space-time orbits, satellites around planets, planets around stars, solar systems around more major vortex centers, and so on. Our planet Earth orbits the Sun once a year, but our solar system as a whole also traverses an orbit in this section of the galaxy with a period of about 24,000 to 26,000 years. There are many other solar or star systems in this cyclic motion, just as there are numerous planets orbiting the Sun. The Pleiades, about 400 light years from us, is part of this system, and in fact our solar system orbits the central sun of the Pleiades, also known as Alcyone. The photon belt encircles the Pleiades system. In fact, it contains and consists of many photon bands emanating from the center of the galaxy, associated with the spiral arms of the galaxy. Thus, our solar system, and therefore planet Earth, takes some 24,000 years to come back to its same point in this particular orbit. Picture several star systems in a massive orbit, but now envisage overall a torrid or donut-shaped cloud cutting across these orbiting star systems. This is the photon belt, or photon band. This means our solar system goes through the belt twice each cycle of 24,000 years. That is, every half cycle. The thickness of the photon cloud is such that it takes about 2,000 years for our solar system to pass through it entirely, and therefore about 10,000 years between each encounter with this belt. Obviously 2 times 10,000 plus 2 times 2,000 equals 24,000 years. When will this occur, you ask? Well, scientists around the globe in 1992 predicted that the encounter would occur within months to a year, with significant disagreements, of course. However, a particular source of Pleiadian extraterrestrials indicated that it would not occur until just after 2010, and that it was difficult to predict since the belt was oscillating so randomly. There are in fact huge discrepancies in channeled material regarding the date of this revelatory occurrence, ranging from 1987 to definitely before the end of the century, to 2003, and finally on and about or around 2011 through 2012. Other Pleiades tell us that our solar system skipped up for a few days in 1987, then over a week in the following year, and then the Sun went into it fully in 1998. However, the information indicates that Earth does not enter fully until 2012. At this present time, we are being informed that the Earth is in the belt for the period of December 1998 and June 1999. What does the photon belt consist of? What will be its effects on life on our planet, positive or negative? Also, what is its purpose, if any at all? The radio announcement used the term electromagnetic to describe the phenomenon. This is the same as photon, which is a particle of light or electromagnetic radiation. A photon belt is as immense a region of space which is radiating intense electromagnetic radiation throughout the visible spectrum and beyond, into high-frequency invisible light, even including some X-ray spectra. Reference has already been made through the media to huge increases in the intensity of dangerous radiation entering through the holes in our ozone layer in certain regions of our planet. Nevertheless, it appears that for mankind on this planet, the photon belt encounter will be essentially a spiritual experience. But this really depends on the man. If we are sufficiently evolved at the time, great advancements will occur in our consciousness as we attune to the high-frequency photon rays. If we are negative, that is, possess too many lower vibrations, the result of selfish actions, we are not expected to survive the radiation. In other words, there will be natural spiritual selection. This interaction with the photon belt has been referred to in channeling as the Christus. Moreover, the event is supposed to be the true nature of the ascension or rapture, well known in the prophecies of Christianity. Other spectacular events, some of temporary nature, are expected as our sun system moves into the belt. Earth is circling the sun, thus it is alternatively ahead of the sun and behind in its linear translation towards the belt. Consequently, either the sun or our planet may enter first. It is impossible to predict which, since, as stated, the photon belt is expanding and contracting randomly. If the sun reaches the photon belt or the Earth, it has been channeled that darkness will ensure for about 3 to 5 days. Obviously, this didn't occur if we had been entering and exiting the belt since 1987. It will be expected to be pitch dark with probable cancellation of electrical power sources. However, if Earth goes in first, then the darkness is avoided. We were told by one source of ETs that our planet enters the bands, which will be at relatively high velocity. We will experience an immediate electric shock, lasting about 1/10 of a second, but not dangerous. But of greater concern are to be said the effects of the intense photon activity on the radiation belt around the Earth and sudden compression of the atmosphere and expansion, which is expected to be such that the radiation belt could ignite. If it does, within minutes the sky will be lit up with intense light, more powerful than from a welder's torch. If eyes are not protected, it would cause blindness. This intense light is expected to last 3 days. Another spectacular feature will be the effect of the intense photon activity on matter. High excitation of atoms will occur, causing fluorescence of all objects. And as a result, there will be no normal night for 2,000 years, which of course again is the duration of our orbit through us. In 1992, many people were purchasing dark goggles. What was this about? Well, after the original announcement on the radio of the oncoming electromagnetic cloud collision, further information was withheld. Then disinformation took over. As mentioned, scientists predicted the moment of full encounter with the belt in and around 1992. There were discrepancies, but all were within months or about a year of one another. According to the Phoenix Liberator, now called Contact, a small but very significant newspaper protected by the Palladium Group, the one world government planned to ignite the radiation belt and blame it on the Nebula event. The Earth/photon belt collision. Special weapons were developed, but all efforts to achieve this heinous act failed. The purpose? The usual one, to create sufficient havoc, introduce martial law, and establish a new world order. Published in the Phoenix Liberator was an article sent in by a teenager unknown to his parents, who worked for the secret government on these weapons, and who subscribed to the newspaper. The youngster knew about the photon belt and the threat of blindness, and his parents made him carry at all times protective goggles and keep them by him in his bedside when asleep. The photon belt encountered will play a significant role in the biblical quote-unquote transformation of man. The term Christus apparently expressed the second coming of Christ. Christ is a state of being consciousness. Some ETs refer to it as Christ office. Jesus was not Christ, but he could attune to this state. There will be a rebirthing of planet Earth. We are told it will divide, each part retaining wholeness though, producing a third density, or frequency density, Earth, and a fourth density Earth. This will not be perceived physically. Planets will be in different dimensions. One will be in parallel universe relative to the other. Note that serious books on physics cover parallel universe theories. There's nothing particularly weird about or new about this. It has been channeled that we sometimes move into parallel universes, planes, and back, which are usually virtual. A further example is that an advanced civilization exists. This particular civilization is in a parallel plane which is reached by entering electromagnetic corridors nearing the openings of the poles in certain other regions. Possibly the only sad event will be that some families will be split up by the natural spiritual selection of the Photon Belt encounter. Some individuals will go with more evolved Earth, referred to as the fourth density, and others will with a third density Earth, which could permanently separate their evolution by several thousand years. In rare instances, one person takes the more evolved path, may suspend progress to wait for the other, of course. Now, the Photon Belt cycle is synchronized with the end of a number of greater cycles. For example, 225 million years, the reptilian cycle, 26,000 years, the precession of the equinoxes, and 104,000 years, a prominent evolutionary peak of 4 cycles of 26,000 years, culminating in a harmonic convergence at about the time of the encounter, 2012. It is also recognized that this point in time coincides with the universe reaching its maximum point of expansion. Synchronization of such nodes would be expected to open up the dimensional strata for the influx of new energy and subsequent changes. The photon cloud has a high density of electrons and positrons, positive anti-electrons. When an electron and positron collide, they are annihilated and the mass is converted into energy radiation photons. However, the presence of these positrons has been and have been predicted to interfere with electricity, which is due to the flow of electrons. It has been indicated that before this event occurs, it would be possible to redesign the present polarity system, giving a reversal of our polarity to compensate for this problem. We haven't noticed any effect yet. However, the photon energy, as a result of the collision of electrons and positrons, will become a major source of free energy. And at this time, the NWO will undoubtedly be unable to suppress its use. Psychological characteristics of entering the belt are the effect of the uprooting hidden, secret, or withheld material, bringing it in to the surface for transmutation. This means psychological and physical disease patterns will be forced to surface. That is, the conscious mind. This will give tremendous advancements, but also, where there is too much to handle, will cause illness, depressions, disease, and even death. According to channeled information, the Galactic Federation will be aiding our transition during this Photon Belt event. It is stated that they altered, years ago, the basic polarity of the Sun to allow it to maintain the integrity of the Sun's planetary system. However, at a later time, NASA space probe Ulysses detected that the magnetic field of the Sun now no longer has a north and south pole. The Sun's magnetic field was found to have changed dramatically into a homogeneous field. No scientific explanation was given, and of course, it has been held from the public. Furthermore, the SOHO satellite more recently revealed the Sun responded abnormally to the impact of cosmic bodies, causing an eruption of some 30 to 35 solar flares, which is unprecedented. The Photon Belt encounter is intended to be a positive experience, but only man with sufficient discipline to improve and elevate his or her own consciousness can ensure that the anticipated golden age will manifest. And we hope, in this time now, you are actively participating in daily meditations to align your soul, your consciousness, with the elevated energies that we are and will be subject to for the next 2,000 years. This is our time. This is our time for the elevation of our consciousness. This is the greatest time in the history of mankind. Will you be a part of it, or will you choose to sit on the sidelines? Because we promise you would much rather be a part of it when it begins. To be aware is to be alive. Love and peace.